So before my injury, before my accident, I was a teenager that was going through Humber College. I was in the home renovation program. I was in the midst of my party phase, and me and my friends would party quite a bit. So I was really partying heavily, drinking heavily, having lots of fun. On April 16, 2011, my best friend at the time was hosting his 19th birthday party. My friend lived on the same street I lived on, so I walked to the party and left my car in my driveway because I knew I was going to be drinking that night. Unfortunately, later that night, I would end up leaving the party, walking back to my house, getting into my car and driving off of the street, and I would crash my car into a tree, going nearly 100 kilometers an hour. And that's how I suffered my brain injury and my spinal cord injury. I was put on life support, and I remained in a coma for a week. And then so after I was in the coma, the doctors told my family to actually consider removing me off of life support because they didn't think I was going to survive the accident. They thought I was never going to come out of my coma. Luckily, I did end up waking up from my coma. But even after that, I was still severely injured. When I came out of my coma, my eyes were crossed. My one eye was pointed towards my nose. So that was a big indication of how severe my brain damage was. I had to learn how to talk again. I had to learn who everyone was again. I couldn't even tell the time on the clock anymore. So I had to learn everything again. So it's kind of like being born again. And then it's been a slow progression. I've worked hard in physiotherapy, worked hard in other therapies like speech therapy. And so I've come a long way, and now my speech is pretty understandable. I'm now able to give motivational talks to high school students. They can hear me just fine. And so I've come a long way. Oh yeah, I've faced many challenges. Getting used to being a quadriplegic, getting used to not having any arm and hand function, getting used to being dependent on other people to do everything for you was a really hard thing to get used to. I got severely depressed. I would cry when I would go to bed. I would cry myself to sleep. I had suicidal ideation. I even thought about how I would kill myself. So I've slowly learned how to overcome the negative thoughts, how to be optimistic, how to focus on, let's say, positive things, how to do things on my daily routine to, say, promote better mental health. So it's been a slow progression. And I'm still learning now. There's still times where life happens and I still get sad. It's not full-on depression, but I'll get sad, I'll get frustrated. And I'm still learning how to deal with those things. My exercising has played a big factor into my mental health. So I've developed a really hard workout routine that I do on a daily basis. Every day I work out, say, 2 to 3 hours a day. And honestly, it just makes me feel so good. Working out and exercising just puts me into a better mood. And so it's played a huge factor into my mental health and my well-being. A really big help for me was my family support. My dad is the number one. He's become my caregiver. He does everything for me. Showering, toileting, dressing. Also, I come from a very religious family. So my faith in God, my faith has really helped me get through it too. Also helped me get through some of the worst times. Just having the faith that living to fight another day will be rewarding in the end. And it has been, because my life is a great thing now. I'm the happiest I've ever been. I'm still learning to maintain that happiness. And so it's just been a good progression. So I graduated from York University in the professional writing program with magna cum laude. So that's a special Latin designation where you finish with an almost perfect GPA. So when I finished with magna cum laude, it was just like a huge accomplishment for me, considering my disability, considering I have a brain injury, considering all the challenges I have to face. So I was very proud of myself for that. So I'm currently in the midst of writing a book about my accident. Everything like dealing with depression, my rehabilitation, making new friends, everything, going back to school. I'm writing a book about my journey to inspire people, to show them that like life can be tough. We all have so much potential for our lives, and we all just have to make the necessary choices to reach that full potential. And I just want everyone to create amazing lives for themselves. I was in an accident caused by me drinking and driving. So like while I was in the hospital, I was feeling terrible that I made such a poor decision to drink and drive. So I made the commitment while I was in the hospital that I was going to use my story to discourage other people from drinking and driving. So after I was discharged from the hospital and everything, I was connected to the PL police, where they helped me start my, I would call it public speaking, because I was just discouraging people from the drinking and driving and talking about the dangers of drinking and driving. But over the years, my motivational speaking, my presentation has come a long way actually. Like drinking and driving is still a part of my talk. But now I can talk about more things, like what I accomplished in school. So I talk about the importance of working hard. I talk about the importance of discipline. I talk about some of the gains I made in my rehabilitation because of the hard work I put in every day, to my exercising, to my training. And I'm very happy that my story and my presentation has come along this way. Because honestly, I just love inspiring people. Some of the feedback I get from these students is remarkable. Like I have students come up to me saying they were dealing with depression. They were feeling like really hard things that they were dealing with. But then after talking to me and hearing my story, it put things into perspective for them, that they think, maybe what I'm going through isn't that bad after all. The one thing I would say is, don't lose hope. Because it may seem really bad now, but one is time will heal. You'll learn to adapt. And there's lots of things that you can do still, even though you're disabled, to live a fun, happy life. And then number two is to keep working hard. Of course, like having a spinal cord injury, there's a big spectrum of what type of function remains intact. What I would just say is, work hard so that you can reach your full potential of your functionality.